besides that, and to kind of go around robin and look to see what's available, or kind of agree, okay, you're doing this, I'll be next after you, okay, yeah, you'll be next, and that sort of thing, and work it out. As I mentioned in the classroom, the necks are larger, they're oversized compared to the fretboard. The fretboard really is the right size. And of course, we have infinite number of choices about where to put the fretboard on here. It could be anywhere, and a lot of those places might not really be very suitable. So what we've been able to figure out from getting parts from Taylor and kind of sizing things up and moving things around and trying to make sense of what we have, you know, this white piece is the string nut. It's got 6 slots in it for the strings to pass over. And the string nut needs to be tight, flush up against the end. It actually looks like it's got a little burr on it. Wasn't there a piece of coriander on here with sandpaper on it?
Right there, Doc.
Right there.
This?
There's some MDF. with
That
the
works
same
fine. Yeah, thank you. Let me just knock that off real quick. I'm not gonna do a whole lot to change the shape of this. There's just a little pointy burr on the end of it that I wanted to remove. So both of these things need to sit on the neck, nice and tight and flush, like so. And this has got a 16-degree angle. And we want to have this, the bottom front corner of the string nut, at that corner where this transitions from horizontal running down 16 degrees. When you really look at it though, it's ever so slightly rounded, so it's going to be a bit of a compromise. It's not a problem. It's a little variation in the production methods between what Taylor does in-house versus, you know, getting things that are pulled off mid-process and sold to us. What you really want to follow along with is the idea that the last fret slot is even with the end of the neck as your starting point. Additionally, Bill has created this nifty little template that I have not seen until about 20 minutes ago. You notice the partially processed neck blanks from Taylor have got some chamfers that run part of the length of the neck, and Bill has figured out that those chamfers are all consistent in size and consistent in their location. And then you take this little template dealie, and there are numbers, and there's 2 little holes. You can mark each fret slot location on the side of the neck. Take a little square and draw a straight line on the edge of the neck, and now you can line the slots up with the pencil marks on here. But I'm telling you though, this last slot is even with the factory end, and it works out just right for the string nut to sit on here and for this head plate to come up. Now the head plate is square. If we were to just glue this on, that wouldn't make a very nice connection right here between the very end of the head plate and the front edge of the string nut. So we can tilt the table saw blade, right? We do a crosscut operation with a miter sled and miter gauge, and we can trim the end of that off. So what's going to happen is we're going to have a nice vertical end. When we put this on here on the angle, a nice vertical end to come up and make a nice tight seal with that string nut. That's that big picture. That's where we're going. Okay. So if the table saw is not being used, right? Go to the table saw. Make sure that the blade is tilted at the right angle. There's a digital measuring tool that I left on in a little yellow box I left on the table saw over there for checking the angle of the table saw blade. Get the miter gauge and go ahead and make your cut. And again, the neck is oversized from Taylor, so, and this head plate is just a rectangular piece. So your neck headstock might be a little wider or a little narrower than the veneer that is supplied. Similarly, it's carved out a little bit on the back. So I mean, these are all places that can be trimmed later. So one of the things we'll have to happen this afternoon, tomorrow morning, is get all this glued up and to kind of trim out these curved areas, maybe at the bandsaw with this thing like this, sitting on the headstock. But for our immediate steps, we want to get the fretboard placed on the neck. And take all that away. Just we want to get this placed. The other thing that we want to be thinking about doing is this is a little long, just like the headstock is a little long. The end of the neck as we need it for our geometry to work with this neck block. this piece of plywood that's here, is we need to cut off a little bit of wood off the end of this so that the new end of the neck is halfway between the last two slots. That doesn't mean scoot the fretboard back. Oh, there it is, yeah, it's halfway. No, that's not what we're doing. This is our location, and we have to actually cut a little bit off. Bill's got this other really cool little gadget that I've not seen until about 20 minutes ago. So this is new to me as it is to you. This little template matches perfectly with the end of the existing neck heel, and it gives you a spot to trace with a mechanical pencil to get the proper radius for the quarter-inch router bit that we're going to use, and the new end of the neck. And when you trace this on here, cut it, and get everything set up, you should be the new cut that you made should be halfway between those last two slots.
Does the new cut go all the way through the fretboard?
No, we're leaving the fretboard alone. We're not changing the fretboard. We're just cutting the wood. So you may want to cut the end of this off prior to gluing the fretboard on. It's probably the easiest way to do it. Cutting and shaping this after the fretboard isn't impossible, but it's a lot more work.
So
It's a lot
does
fuzzier.
it line up to that?
I'm glad you asked. Once again, we've got this cool little template here with the existing end of the neck lined up. It matches the contour on here where the plastic is swooped out, matches where the wood is swooped out, right? And we'll take a pencil and mark through the holes in here.
Want an extra set of hands?
Couldn't hurt, sure couldn't hurt. You'll notice in this neck too that there are dimples. Yeah. You'll notice that there's some dimples in the side of the neck from the fixturing process where they've got like some metal pins to help hold this in place that they use in operation. So, I need some more pencil to go through this. This is really cool. Like I say, I haven't seen this before. I'm excited to see how this works out for us.
Does the dot go in the neck or the fretboard? Marking the fretboard.
Yeah, this is so that we can line up. These are the slots we can line up with. So now we've got these pencil marks on here. We can take a square. Look at this square.
Or in the box.
So I can also do this. All right, and as a lefty, I'm going to try to do this as a right-handed person. We tip that down on this. So we're going to line that up, and we're just going to go ahead and make the mark. And if you want to, you can set the template on the other side.
I'm left-handed up too.
I'm left-handed too. I'm doing it. It's all wrong.
Hold that side. There.
Yep, right there.
There.
Switch it. There's two pairs. There's one right there. There's a hole in this plug.
Really, you'd only need to mark the first and the last. To line
Or even
up.
just the first.
Well, yeah, technically. And then you can visual that the last fret is right on the edge of the wood, right?
We need to bring in mark that one.
You're only talking about the notes it's gonna play. It's not that important if it's lined up.
No.
Thanks, Mark.
Create some new style.
So here we can see the pencil marks that got transferred to the edge of the neck, lined up with the, no.
I just saw this 20 minutes ago.
Take
We're
two.
gonna edit this out.
It's different.
We're gonna edit this out. This is, no. Because what did I just say not to do a second ago? Don't slide this up and say, oh, we're done. And that's exactly how this is lined up.
Is it?
We need Bill.
Then the easy way to do this is to put that
So we're gonna
last
pin this.
fret even with
Yep.
the end, then take a pencil and mark down the side of
Yep.
the neck
Where the
you
fret,
want the
yeah.
fretboard to be.
So,
Good thing
and
Bill's
that's-
not here.
that's
He's
exactly-
fired.
That's exactly what I'm doing right now. I'll mark here. I'm just gonna do a couple frets.
Bunch of Yankees figured out the Southerner did something wrong.
Easy.
I gotta get in my digs when I can.
I know.
I didn't make fun of Alabama yet today, though.
Yes. Red.
So, and again, there is a picture that real clearly illustrates post-cutting, how the new end of the neck is gonna be halfway between the last two slots. So I marked a couple of them. But we wanna be able to line this up so that when we glue this, it's not sliding all around like it's been greased up. So we're gonna go over to the drill press, and we'll take a look over here.